Is a rehabilitation center and what happens there?
Thank you, Vuyo. A rehabilitation center is basically a space, a center where we basically get people who are drug addicts from the community, and they come to the center to basically, receive help, treatment for them to basically stop being abusers of drugs in the community. So that center must have doctors who are qualified, there must be staff who's qualified so that they can be able to provide psychosocial support. They must also be able to provide, therapeutic sessions as well, so that by the time they leave the rehab center, they are normal people, they are ready to be part of the community. And yes.
Do these centers have to be licensed by the department?
Absolutely, the centers must be licensed. Some of the centers are actually managed by non-profit organizations. The non-profit organization must have a certificate for being an NPO, but they must also have a license or a number for them being a registered and licensed rehab center. But we also have privately owned rehab centers as well. They must also have, apart from being a company, having a company registration number, they must also have a number for being a licensed rehab center.
By the department?
By the Department of Social Development.
These
yes.
20 are not licensed by the department?
The 20 are not licensed by the department, and that's why on Friday this week, we will basically be having a round table with them to say to them, look, this is the act which demands that you must be registered. And these are the regulations which also demand that you must be registered and you must follow some kind of norms and standards.
Yeah. What are the risks that are faced by people who go to an unregistered and unlicensed center?
The risks are that, because the drug usage is high, the level is high in society. So the risk is that you'll pay a lot of money. There are those who are making money. It's a money-making scheme now. So they will charge you a lot of money. Essentially, with our government rehab center, people don't pay for it. But for the NPOs, they pay a minimum of about 5,000 rands or so. But with the unregistered, unlicensed rehab centers, they will pay up to sometimes 100,000 rands a month. So they are ripped off. And secondly, because the center is not proper in terms of the structure, but also in terms of the wards, there are no specific wards where they can actually get professional services, psychosocial support, etc. There is no proper security, so you don't know if your loved one, if he or she is in that center, there won't be the drug lord following them, selling the same drugs, so that they don't really recover. So those are some of the risks, but also they can be used as laborers, cheap laborers. They can be kept in small rooms that are not ventilated. There's no individualized treatment program for them.
If you're unlicensed, there's no inspection as well?
There's no inspection. There hasn't been any assessment, because before you actually operate as a rehab center, before you do that, you must actually go and report to the local government municipality offices, to the Department of Social Development, to the Department of Health, because you must have a certificate for health, a certificate for environment, a certificate for fire extinguisher. If anything happens, if the kitchen which is not proper burns, how are you going to, to extinguish the fire?
So somebody listening to our conversation and thinking, so how do I know if a center is licensed or not? How would they know?
When you come into the center, you must check. There must be a certificate right on the wall. A certificate that this is an NPO or a company. Another certificate which says the center is licensed by the Department of Social Development with the signature of the HOD. If that is not there, you must know that the center is not licensed.
And the licensing is a multi-year licensing program, or is it must they renew the license application and the approval annually?
They must actually renew the license on a regular basis. I'm not too sure whether it's annually or maybe 3 years or so, but there will be assessments that take place on a regular basis, and because of that, then the license will be...
Okay, so there's a roundtable this Friday to discuss with the unlicensed centers.
There's a roundtable this Friday to discuss that, but also we continue with our local drug committees, and we really want the parents, the communities to participate in those communities, because that's where these issues are discussed.
Okay, thank you very much. MEC Nandima Yatula Khoza is responsible for social development here in Gauteng, joining us here on Morning Live on SABC2.